Morning. How are you?
Morning.
Good. Morning.
Can I help you? Sit in here or up here, whatever you want to do. Just have a seat.
All right, at 9 o'clock, we'll open the meeting with pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We've got an application for vacation. Kate's going to be taking some time off. What you got?
Did you ever call? Remember somebody called you about the road?
Yeah, and I thought that Joe was going to contact them.
No, you said you called.
Oh,
He read it in the paper and called me outside.
there you go. Yeah,
Because I didn't know who you had the conversation with.
Okay.
Prepared? A long time.
Yeah,
I remember meeting a
long time.
a trainee. How are you?
Good.
Good. Well, time to ourselves.
Morning, Joe. Matt, how you doing?
Yeah.
Great.
Everybody have a nice word.
Oh, what's that?
Have a nice word.
Oh, yeah. You bet. Hot. Busy.
did you bring in here?
The agreement. I didn't bring a signature sheet. I just have a copy of the scope. Since that, did you? So you can be on that one.
I didn't bring your side.
Okay. Forward it to the clerk. They can turn it. Yeah. I may even be able to.
She doesn't attend.
She does sometimes, but she's working on budget right now, so she's upstairs today.
Just curious how you guys.
Yes. She's usually down here, but right now, I've been down here since.
Okay.
What is your email address? Would you be able to print something if I
KD Richter, RICHTER, at JACOKS.com. What's that? No, I use this one. So,
I recognized you, Kurt. What are you up to these days?
Not much.
Brady, how you doing?
Yeah. How are you doing?
Oh, stay busy. Just running around trying to keep our staff busy.
Which quarter is you located?
So I'm out of our Manhattan office. I live over by Abilene.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cover Central and Eastern Kansas. So.
It's good to see you.
Yeah.
That's probably
Yeah, and some Highway Association conference or something years ago. But when did you retire?
good. Okay,
Paid off?
2018. Probably one
Okay. Did you go to work for a county?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, you're at County County now.
Yeah.
Well, that's five. Not this year. Yeah. Too little.
You guys working on a project on the county line here?
Usually.
You got everybody going high tech and going to the iPad, the electronic detonators.
That's really good. Good, like so.
I did, we were in, Rhino.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I heard him, like, when my son went to it, really good about
Got a good show.
All the Hartmans retired from the firm.
Yeah. Yeah. Sid was I'm trying to remember if Tom was before or after him. I'm still at Manhattan. I'm still seeing him occasionally. Up in the office for our 50th anniversary open house here March of this year. Probably the last time I saw him. As far as I know, still really good. Haven't seen Sid in longer. Did you go to school with them? Or?
Well, I worked with Brother Frank.
Oh, okay. What did he do?
He we worked together with White Martin Associates in Topeka. He was a technician. But we went to a number of golf tournaments.
Yeah,
BG
golfers.
Since they were really golfing.
And then
We see the bridge as one of our 5-year projects, and we have another guy that just bid on one of the biggest part of our 5-year project that we're going to talk about this series.
So we've got about 21 or 22 shareholders. I've got enough stock at this point that the principal has said there's probably 15 unless they're at that threshold. But so from Lawrence, you probably know Jason Hoskinson and Dave Hamby and Brian Kingsley and there's Matthew Coles, Fanny Monaco, Ronnie Foster, the office manager there. Yeah, a number of younger professionals.
You guys can do bridge project.
Yes, yeah, so that's kind of my part for that at all. Just bridge services. I don't often get RFPs, and I just figured there's enough in the county that maybe we didn't have much shot, but if you are in need of more consultants in the county,
We two firms.
Rachel Finney and
15 Cook Flat.
Cook Flat. Yeah, I mean, absolutely open. It's been a lot of years since I put a proposal in on one.
We have an online bid for
Okay.
so you might have to the Shawnee County website.
Okay.
And for that,
Okay.
they'll send you messages.
Yeah.
Another bridge.
8 out or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure would be
Just one for everybody, just one.
I can make.
It's okay, I'll pass it. We should have three.
I'm the main one.
Well,
This one, Sean.
there's 3 in Ohio,
The pages.
3 separate, the same thing.
Just curious.
Did you get the email?
Yeah.
Did you get the email version that I sent?
yeah, the one from BG.
Yes.
Like,
You got yours?
Which one?
The email one?
Yes, from BG, yeah.
the other thing they sent to Todd to look at.
This is the first time I've seen it.
Okay. Okay, we'll find out. All right, I got 9:15. Your turn, Joe.
Alright, so, the Wabunsee County project for the permit line is tomorrow. We're gonna talk to Pat Court, Pat Cordy today. We're supposed to meet with, a representative, and show them around, but at the same time, we're gonna talk to Pat today after this and see how intense that is, and if we can send a representative to go see them in Wabunsee County. We might just send one of our big guys or something to we'll decide yet. The product, we'd like to see how it's done. Sure. We also want to see how it holds up, so we might, if we can't, we just want to put someone else later on to see how it's holding up there. But without seeing it beforehand, it's hard to say how great it is.
Yeah.
That's our plan so far. Make the plan, have a plan. So the fairgrounds, we bladed it on Friday. So there was not going to be any rock before the fair, that first rock. How dry that is. So we'll talk again about that if that's something that we want to pursue. On Wednesday, July 8th, we have a meeting with Iworks, another one of those sensor and star in between kind of things. It's something that was already scheduled through our last regime, so we're going to honor the meeting. And if they have, stars is working great for us, so we're not looking for anything else. But,
Yeah.
if they have something that's comparable to sensor or cheap, maybe.
Well, how is so on that? How is the cat and John Deere working? Is that doing what you want it to do?
The cat. So what was being told you guys, and what's the reality is two different things. Like the cat, it'll show you where they are at one point during the day. If you want to see where they are by the minute, it's a paid program. And I don't think it's worth our investing in it. We can look into it further if we want to, but I think we have money spent better somewhere else.
Okay.
But if we want to pursue it, we can pursue it and see what the cost is.
Why don't you go ahead and get some information on it, just so we can have that to look at. Yeah.
Yeah, the nice thing about it, as opposed to Samsara, if we did go that route, is we kind of track our, Bryce is doing it already, but they track like our fuel levels and our oil levels and everything. So there's a check and balance there for us.
Right.
So that would be nice if we did that route. Last week, Matt's guys, they did 2 tubes, one at 286 and M6. And the other was S2 and 6th Street. So that little section is like in the city of Boyd, but we own it. It really is up to those couple houses.
That work goes across that pond there.
Russell, completely.
Russell, completely. What's it called?
So that one was unique for Matt and his guys because that was their only approach. If there was an emergency, they had a way out. But so
Made that priority.
we sent out letters beforehand for that one, like we were talking about.
That's good.
And no one threw any bits except for UPS driver happened to be there when I was there, but we gave him several days as notice, we should have went around, we just talked about the post office.
Yes, driver.
He was fine. So they asphalted on 118 and 110, not just, this is where they actually tear out and put asphalt down, not just,
It's the hot mix.
so they did 118 and 110, they have more on 118, and then they're gonna head up further north after that. This week they're gonna do an entrance height, W and 228. And then they're going to work on that wing approach at B4 and 198. I'm sure you heard all about that one. Oh, yes, on 90. Not on 98.
Is that, what's the name on that? Do you have the entrance? Is that a gal that's you've been communicating with down there? She lives on the south side of the road, correct?
It's on the east side of the road.
The east side.
It's on W, it's at the top of the corral over there. I believe it's a Y.
At some point, someone contacted Matt about some oversize, and we're going to haul that from H and 262.
And what's the oversize? Just in the road, or?
There's a building there, he wants it removed. So besides, we do it.
So we take a lot of that broken up concrete,
Oh.
use it for erosion control.
Where does that get hauled off?
Smaller oversized, the
Yeah.
other stuff, so.
So we can use the ditches. Thank
At the shop, they're working on their piece salt spreader. It made it through last winter, but it having some issues. So they're getting that ahead of the game. I mean, it's July already, and so it's flying by. Just prepping for some nice early. And then Brandon's out this week, so they're going to do maintenance, yearly maintenance on his.
Brandon Hundley, vacation.
Sick. Want to see again?
We talked about 517 last week, how it was up in the Kansas City area getting. So the reason for that, talked to
Bryce called me.
the program, it has to be programmed by an authorized non-user, so that's the reason I had to go there.
It's one of those proprietary deals that only they could do, and blah, 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 so, just like John Deere used to be until they got sued. So,
What year is the truck? And it's still proprietary.
We had it rebuilt, one of those we rebuilt,
Through Hoyt's, or was that through?
might have been the other company.
Yeah, that took forever.
Right.
Okay, and so the ECM, is it the ECM that needs to be?
Yes.
flat? And it's pre-flat.
And it's proprietary.
And we verified that with that ICE can't do that work. Did we ask ICE?
I don't know if Bryson asked Ice or not. He said if he goes down to, from the conversation I had with him, when he called me to tell me, because Joe had asked him about it and contacted me, and he said to go down there and purchase the ECM, they would still have to take the truck down there, tow it down there to be flashed.
Yeah, that was the closest.
So it's authorized dealer. Has to be done at an authorized dealer. So,
We have to pay to tow the truck down there. Just to get it flashed.
because it's not drivable right now, correct?
They don't have a service truck?
That's entirely possible.
I mean, I would like to know, is it cheaper to have a service truck drive up here than it would be to have Brown's tow it
Yeah.
All the way down there. I mean, did we even check on that? Did Bryson check on that?
We had a couple bridge proposals. The first one was County County. I have some representatives here to explain it to us. I know we had a lot of questions about it.
Sure. How you doing, guys?
Morning, good.
Morning.
Mike Wells from Shawnee County Public Works.
Grab a chair and slide it on up.
Okay.
Stand up there.
This is Courtney House, the Director of Public Works.
Oh,
Already got you?
yeah, thanks for coming.
This is the third project that I've been the project engineer with joint efforts on 94th Street. I think Tom Flanagan gave you, I believe that he did the bridge over Little Soldier Creek. Back. We have a third one here that we thought we were going to get FEMA money back in 2008 when it was damaged, but they only gave us patching money back then. So that's all we've been doing now. And in fact, when Joe and I went up to the construction, we found out another hole on the approach to the roadway, so, on the bridge, so we got that repaired again. And we're now here to set up a joint project that would replace the structure and bring it to something that probably lasts another 100 years.
So currently it's a tube,
It's a timber.
it's a timber structure. Okay. And so no concrete, or does it have some concrete?
It has concrete that was placed in front of the wood, the wood planks.
Okay.
And it's kind of shored up, and if I, somebody just put global fill in there behind some steel bridge planks and stuff like that, formed it up.
And if I understand it right, this road is it a minimum maintenance road?
No,
It does have gravel.
it has gravel on it, and there's several homes along it, and one home on the Jackson County side down by Little Soldier Creek. That's their main access into, because the road going north is what I would call field road, or field access road.
Minimum maintenance. Yeah. I think this was a fairly expensive bridge, if I'm correct.
Right.
For everybody involved. I mean, more for you guys, I think. One of the questions that we had brought up was that we used a tubing system, kind of prefab mat, that one that we brought in and set in place and had the wing walls and everything on it, was quite a bit less expensive than building a full, is this a full concrete bridge?
This will be a 24-foot span. You can take the top opening vertically, secure the drainage on that small channel there. And then it's also in the overflow area of Little Soldier, so it gets inundated when Soldier Creek gets up and out too. So.
Okay.
So I was trying to think how big that tube series of the triple tube down here, wasn't it?
Yeah.
By weight, with the wing walls and everything we put in. Those tubes were how big?
They were 4 foot around, and 3 long, and it's about 50 foot long.
Yeah, I was gonna say they were pretty good size, and we found that was a much more economical and feasible option putting those in. They did all the engineering work as far as the figuring out what size we need, wing walls, whole 9 yards to handle any flow that would go down here. So I didn't know, we had talked about that, whether or not you guys had ever looked at something like that.
We do, when the drainage area is a lot smaller than what we have at this location. The channels, drainage area is just about a square mile. So it carries a lot of water. I mean, it's real flat in there, so it's not coming in real fast or anything, but, and then, one of the things we looked at, I think, the previous director we had, they wanted we try to eliminate our guardrails on structures anymore, especially in an area like this that has that overflow, because then all it does is catch debris when you put them in there, and then the cost of guardrail right now, we've taken all that money, we put it into extending the box wider so that we don't need guardrail, and it's about a washout on cost. And if you take it over, the next 100 years and have to replace that guardrail over time, the cost becomes negligible.
Sure.
We try to look at something that we're going to build that will go 7,500 years with very little of any maintenance. And that's our goal.
No, and I get it, that longevity is, place that structure in like that, get most years out of it.
And one of the biggest things, looking back here on the project estimate too, one of the biggest things that we had seen was utilities, which those are gone now since we're not gonna have new utilities, correct?
Sorry. Yeah, we verified that the power lines are in the existing road right away. They're basically going to set some new poles that are taller so that the structure can be built where it's necessary to be able to boom and place material underneath it. And then I think the telephone line is either not used or it's like a 6-pair line, and for them.
Copper line is not used anymore.
Yeah, basically it'll probably be abandoned and they'll put something else in there.
Okay.
So, the only thing that was of concern, I talked with Joe briefly about it, with the bridge being shut down, one homeowner over to the west is going to have to go north, is to make sure that they're still able to get in and out, so you may have to do some work on that road to, be able to get them in and out.
What's that gonna look like? Is it a mile of minimum maintenance? A mile and a half?
But it's a temporary, it's not gonna be a permanent situation, so.
Right, so what is the plan if it rains for them to be able to get out? Other than traveling that minimum maintenance road, or do they have an alternative direction that they can go?
That is their only option.
That's gonna be tough.
I know in the past when I worked with some prior road foreman, they used to do the old cinder
Asphalt.
and the material that needs to get out there from the power plant. And I know they put a whole bunch between Jennings Road and 75 Highway many years ago.
Yeah.
And I think they put down a bunch when they replaced the bridge over Little Soldier Creek, and that is in service to that. So I didn't know if you had that material or you can still use it.
No, they don't do that anymore.
What's the nearest what is that minimum maintenance road? Is it high? Okay. I'm just looking on maps, I'm just trying to get a visual. So that gentleman, or the family or individual lives to the north of 94th, and that's a long driveway with back up in there.
Yeah, it's partially surfaced up to his driveway.
Yeah, there is no other way, because that comes out on 106th Road. I think I'm familiar with that. That's pretty flat and pretty, that goes right, basically through a corn.
The creek is right there.
Yeah, it goes around the edge of the creek. So what would be the plan then to make High Road that, you said a mile and a half or it's a mile. Yeah. What's the plan to make that drivable even in a rainy situation? This project's gonna take how long, do you think?
I think that they should be able to do it in 90 to 100 days.
And that's pretty good. That's not bad.
We're working with our contractor now. We set specific dates, start, stop. And then there are reductions if they don't meet those
Sure.
requirements.
The bridge replacement is back just before J. Is that right? So
Three quarters of a mile west of our, what we call the Lansing Road. So that would be
okay,
J.
3/4 of a mile west.
So is the crossing west of that house?
East of the house.
Would that be, I'm just gonna ask, I'm just gonna show you what we're looking at. I'm just trying to make sure. So
Just west of their driveway, is it correct?
That's where the bridge is?
Is that just west of their driveway?
Oh, is that right? That's probably.
There's I Road.
This is the house right here that we're talking about.
Okay, this house right here.
Right.
It's not this.
That's just the driveway. That's the structure right here.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate that.
Maybe.
This we can see the water, so the bridge is probably here, and the house is probably here. Right?
Bridge will be about a quarter mile east of the highway.
And then the home is north of 94 on I-road. Yes, okay, okay. That helps.
We discussed, shoot flag or, you want us to.
I don't know where we come up with funding for rock. I mean, because you're gonna have, if you did that, you were gonna have to put 3-inch base in first, otherwise you're just wasting your time. Do we have are asphalt millings an option? And something like that? Or is that a mess?
Break being so close right there.
Do we have an estimate of what it costs to make that road drivable from that driveway from their place north?
I could get you one.
I think that's,
We're gonna need that.
One of the things I think the flat control will look at is what the cost would be for a shoe fly road around it. Their estimate on that is $25,000 to $30,000.
so down through the creek and back up, and
Right.
so 25 to 30. So that gives us the option.
I mean, it's impossible to rock.
I would think so.
How do you guys feel about that? I mean, you're good with that, or?
Well, what we were figuring is that a shoe fly had to be built, it would be at your expense, not at the sheriff.
I think I'd like you guys to take a look at that and see if that's a real option versus anything else we have, and let us know next week or as soon as possible. I'm sure you guys want, when do you want to start on the project?
Basically, it's an open end. I was hoping to have actually been had it built by now, but
Gotcha.
that didn't happen on our end either. So it's got we're doing catch up here, trying to get it moving back
But
again.
possibly August, September start?
We could, if we get all the right of way acquired. There's one thing that has to be done, is there is a review done for historical.
Sure.
They're going to be doing some digging around to see if they can find some artifacts. So we have somebody from Dunmore that's set up to do that. Once we get all the right of way acquired, then he can step in and do this review.
So we're gonna send this to the attorney and let him look it over, and then we'll have that back by next week. And then if you can get us the estimates for the, what it costs to rock it, but I'm sure it's gonna be a whole heck of a lot less than the 25 to 30, or a heck of a lot more than 25 to 30. So
we'd be looking at somewhere between 75 and 80,000 overall for our cost if you add in the bridge plus the shoot line. So.
all right.
Yeah, I think it's something, I guess, I think it's something, at least I see that we're gonna have to move forward with.
Yeah.
You see, just out of curiosity, do you see a lot of building in that area on the north side, or the south side of the road? Is there a lot of new construction coming, do you feel like, or anything? No?
We've actually seen a lot of building outside the city's 3-mile limit.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Yeah.
It's like, I see more and more of that happening.
Okay.
Particularly the city put in a requirement for building sites in that 3-mile area, you have to have 300-foot frontage.
Yeah.
The county, outside of that, we're still at 3 acres and 200 feet of frontage.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of
People are interested in that.
the extra mileage driven to get into the weekend or anywhere else, they're not worried about it anymore.
You haven't seen anything in the vicinity of the bridge project?
Just directly south of it along 82nd Street.
Okay.
Is just a perfect example along Pump Road.
Yeah.
That,
Oh, it's blown up.
it just, and I think it just depends on how that property gets transferred. If it stays with the family, it probably won't be developed. But if it's the families all went out and they're doing remote work in Wichita like my son, that land will probably go for sale, but here's what we got. So
So you feel like we can give them an answer next week?
I believe we should be able to, if we get the numbers back and attorney, puts his stamp on it and says, yep, we're good. So, like I said, I think we ought to be able to give you an answer next week. So.
And this contract is very, very similar to the one that was submitted previously.
Yeah.
Over
Other than projected costs.
yeah, yeah. We modified that. I think I modified something up in the budget. I don't know.
Okay. But yeah, we should have an answer for you next week, so it should be all, from looking at this right now, it should be a go. Once we get that, but I'm guessing we're probably going to do the shoot line. That's going to be it.
Work would probably take place in 2027 or finish up in 2027. Is that work with your budget for 27?
I think so.
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think for what I put in that estimate, there's a lot of working room in that, so hopefully we can get substantially below that.
Sure.
Dollar amount shown in there. So
Okay.
whether we save it anything, it'll just that we share with you as well.
And so the actual construction of the shoe fly be done by
Same contract.
same contractor? It won't be done by you guys or?
Now that would affect the cost, and then what I'll do is maybe have Pruett set that up as a special bid item, construct and do a temporary shoe fly, and then have them put an estimate on it, and then that way.
So, Matt, I'm just gonna ask, is that something that you're capable of?
Oh, yeah, we can do it, we just need to know how far it was, and everything.
Would that be a cost savings? I mean, our labor, our dozer, our trucking?
Well,
How do you guys feel about that?
Well, if you guys wanted to do and get your own temporary easement from the landowners on the north side to do that, then outside of it, I think the only thing that Division of Water Resources, we're trying to get their permit for it. Typically on temporary crossings like that, you gotta, whatever you put down in the creek's gotta meet their requirements. But they only require a tube that'll fit like a 2-year frequency storm. So you can put a smaller tube in it just during that construction. Or, the contractor may even create his own little contractor crossing. So I'll be happy to discuss more with Pruett and Strobel to see if maybe that can be worked out some too.
I'm sure you guys would do a great job, but just from a liability standpoint, I think the contractor should control all of that work.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are good thoughts. I just wasn't sure about anything we could do to save money and we have the equipment. But liability wise.
Yeah, they would control their own destiny, so to speak, as far as that shoot fly, and I think that's important. And anytime you bring risk or uncertainty to a project, you bring the cost up, so.
And you brought up a good point too, the contractor might have to have access to the other side also, so they might be already looking to put in a few flights.
That's right.
So, yeah. Okay,
Thank you.
perfect. Thank you, gentlemen, really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you for your hospitality.
At that age.
That's what life is, man.
It is.
Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Down to, we have Brady here.
Slide up here. So, hopefully, you guys are aware that we help the road department out applying for and pursuing state and federal funds for bridge programs. This year's application, we got a project funded on the KLBIP program, which stands for Kansas Local Bridge Improvement Program. So it's just state dollars. Projects on that program are locally led, locally administered, versus the other program, they are led by KDOT, incorporate federal funds, have some additional requirements built into the program because of that. So the bridge that got funded is going north out of Circleville on your major collector route there. That existing bridge is a little bit of jog in the road. It's under 20 feet wide. Load post is in poor condition. Concrete's falling off the bottom and reinforcing steel hanging out. So it was a good candidate. You got $760,000 available of state money.
Okay.
The way that program works is county's responsible for the design and bidding of it, and then construction and construction engineering inspection are reimbursable by the state, are reimbursed at 90%. So your cost is the design and then 10% of the construction and inspection costs. Although you did get kind of a bonus $50,000 that will offset some more of your 10% or some of your design costs. That $50,000 is for getting another poor condition bridge off the system, which was the one on W4, just a mile south of 116 out here, which sounded like one that you guys already had plans to replace or remove. So I had sent a agreement over, which I think you got then and passed along. So the agreement was a lump sum cost for the survey, design, bid letting, permitting. We don't usually handle, my scope didn't include talking to landowners and acquiring right away for you guys, but we provide the legal descriptions and agreements if you need them, coordinate utilities.
You think there'll be some land acquisition? I mean, we'll have to take any on?
So we haven't, obviously, figuring out what the existing right of way is as part of that
That's, you're
survey.
talking about the one with the curve, we want to straighten it out.
Yeah, the idea is to get that straight, and then, my concept, kind of like they were talking about, was a box culvert, because that's similar, it only drains about a mile or less of drainage area. But you go a box culvert and make it long enough that you can grade the shoulders down and not have to have a guardrail, and like they say, that reduces maintenance items, things for people to get it, And it may well be, once we look at hydraulics, small enough that it doesn't even have to be on the bridge anymore, so get one less inspection every 2 years.
It'd be nice.
A little bit here and there, but that
A
goes
little
on
bit else.
into eternity if you
Yeah.
bridge size structure. So our agreement had lump sum fee for those design and letting, and then the construction phase, we just put an hour estimate in and we bill hourly, because that kind of varies depending on what contractor you get, how efficient they are. So that estimated construction inspection budget kind of scared another county, and I had to explain to them on their KLPIP project that that's kind of the worst case scenario, and we typically only spend, 60, 70%, 2/3 of that budget if the project goes smoothly, the contractor is efficient and doesn't have problems. The last bridge we got funded through these KDOT programs was in 23, that one a mile south of Circleville on 246 Road. And on that one, I guess that was 100% KDOT funding for construction and inspection. But yeah, we barely spent half of the inspection budget on that because they went pretty efficiently on that. But, Joe, I just asked that tell me kind of fill you in on the program and whatnot and be available to answer questions.
And so is the cost for, I didn't see the cost for your services.
So that was exhibit B. I think our lump sum design, permitting, bidding, all that was $57,500. And just like for reference, that's our hourly rates from last budgets we did a couple years back. Inflated, 3-4% a year. And in the not to exceed hourly budget for the inspection, construction, engineering portion, I think I had 97,000 in there, and that was based on 700 and some hours of inspection time. Which, like I said, we didn't spend all that.
And you're saying that is what would be 60% roughly is your kind of guesstimate from past projects?
Yeah, well, and the KDOT projects, with the extra effort in reporting for the federal aid projects, those budgets are probably at a higher max potential. So it's might be 80% of that or something.
Okay.
It's hard to tell until we get a contractor on board and what the schedule is. But yeah, these projects, we just, keep books in the field, and we don't have to enter into KDOT's electronic ashware, they call it, or electronic payment and record keeping software. So effort that's a little lower on our part there. But, as far as schedule, as soon as we got a signed contract, that's getting in our survey queue. They a lot of times are a month or two out on getting the survey. And then we would get started on the design, probably by the time we get permits and some easements and utilities movement stuff. Probably wouldn't let until sometime next year. And it'd be probably mid to later 27 construction.
And the state doesn't put a time limit on that.
You have 2 years from this past June here to get it under contract with contract.
Not this.
Or
just
last
month. Okay.
Yeah, when the announcements came out first week of June.
So we have 2 years, the clock started then.
Yeah.
Okay. That's doable.
Yeah, that's usually not a problem. But yeah, it's a 6 month anyway planning project development process, and then contractors often have a 3 to 6 month backlog. Sure. Occasionally you'll get one that's ready to jump on and start right away, but most of the time I'm telling folks.
If they're good at what they do, they probably are busy.
Yeah. they don't keep cruising around, they don't have anything to do.
Right.
So, yeah, just wanted to work out there. These two off-system and KLVIP programs that KDOT does annually, they get 180 or so applications and award 30 to 35. So that's kind of your odds of getting one any given year. So,
Okay.
getting one 3 years after the last one is not too bad. Hopefully we can I've had a pretty good track record of getting projects out every 3 years or so. Getting those worst ones off the system.
Okay. Any other questions?
I don't either.
That'll work. You guys know how to get hold of me if you need anything.
Yeah, thanks for coming down and answering questions.
All right, thank you very much, appreciate it.
I'm still curious about that project that Gert's. Not exactly where that is, but it's from the aerial, it should look like it's west of that. Fair enough, but anyway.
Thanks again.
Yep, have a
Thank
good
you.
one.
I think a lot of that cost, we go up to $50,000 feet, a lot of that, so it won't be. Everything's significant, but
Right.
pretty cheap bridge.
It's pretty cheap for a
Box culvert.
$800,000 dollar project. And it would be nice, Matt, you think the way they're gonna design this, we can take it off and it won't be something we have to inspect anymore. Just out of curiosity, Matt, the bridge, the tubing system with the wing walls and stuff that we did put in, it was quite a bit cheaper. Have you looked at it to see how it's holding up from all these big rains? And
We've had to clean it out a couple times with brush, you know, other than that, it's holding it fine. The water's not going over it.
Okay, so you feel like it's doing its job?
It's-
Would you use it again?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Just curious, sometimes you never know with those
Yeah.
type of deals. If they,
I think it's a big plus, the water's not going over the road, it's been able to handle it, especially with the rains we've got this year. Especially down in your area.
Yeah, it's not a fix all for every road, but it definitely has
Yeah,
its place.
It's a situational deal.
Oh, yeah.
It works great.
Yeah, that works really good.
okay.
And then
Great.
we had one more, we were able to run.
Yeah.
So, Chris Ailman came up the last Tuesday. That J, this Q and Tim, Q and
Q and 113.
oh yeah, Q and
You would what?
113.
More than 110.
Oh, north of 110, okay. What's the situation on it?
So on the back side, it's just it was over our 5-year project, right?
Say that again.
The 5-year bridge project is one of those bridges. He came and looked at it, and he bid $184,770. That would include just the erection of it, and we would do the rest.
You'll dig it out back.
We do all the dirt work and they build the road. We gotta buy the concrete too.
They what?
We gotta buy the concrete too for the concrete deck, but other than that, they just build it, we tear it out, do all the dirt work.
We have the money in the 5-year plan, I mean, in the capital outlay, have you looked at the,
That I need to double verify.
That's what I was curious about too.
I wasn't
in front of me, so.
entirely sure the process on that.
Bridge plan, 647,000 and some change as of 5/31. So is that 647,000, we use 118, you said
184.
184 out of this. So that'd be my recommendation. We move ahead with that one. And then if there's any additional costs for the one that they were just talking about, we'll take both of those out of this too.
Yeah.
So there's more than enough money there to cover both of those. So in my opinion, move ahead with all of them, but
I think that'd be my recommendation too.
And this would be probably later in 27 for this one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said if we huddle up on it, not, this already, but the steel price and stuff, this is guaranteed for a month or two. So, but once we say yes, it's locked in, right?
That's my understanding.
right, because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, we've done this before where we bought the package and then get it on the ground, and then whenever they get into it, they get into it. That way we're locked in on
Yeah, that'd
it.
be
So,
fine. That'd be
I
great.
mean, I don't have a problem if they staged it here, or they use it wherever. Let's get it bought up before something changes, so.
Okay, so I heard you guys. Do you still want the shoe fly estimate, or do you want them to just?
I think that they're gonna have to do it.
Do you want the estimate for rocking?
I don't think so. I don't think we rock it for less than $25,000-$30,000.
No way. No.
So, yeah,
And if
That'd be about 400 feet, I think.
yeah.
Yeah, even if we got asphalt buildings free, I still don't think it'd be as cheap as doing, and that seems like a more practical thing. So,
Yeah, because once we, do that, it's there forever.
well, they'll take it back out though, yeah, once the
I
project's
meant
done.
that if we rocked it.
Yeah, so, that seems like a better plan, so don't waste your time, in my opinion.
No.
Get what kind of estimate, other stuff.
Alright, so next week I'll get you a good price for John Deere, and I'll find out whether the service truck was an option, and if we, for next time we know for sure, but I would assume that he did, but we didn't specifically talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't even guess what it's gonna cost to tow it down there versus paying a couple $100 for fee plus the hourly rate. I gotta feel like it's gotta be cheaper. When you flash one, unless something's changed, it requires a laptop and a cord that plugs in and you do work right there, so. And the whole thing about it is, just so I'm clear, we had to replace the ECM. Therefore, if it's a Mac ECM, they're the only one in the program.
The vendor, that was our closest vendor to do that, and it had to be that company to do their own.
Okay. And do you think it's a 17 or 18? No. Oh,
We got those in 06.
06, okay. And that was one of those that we had down at Kansas, whatever.
Power trainer.
Yeah, power train.
There you go.
Yeah.
And it took months. Okay, thank you.
And then, I don't know what I'm going to do when I talk to him. He's not going to do that anymore. Yeah, I think he just
Appreciate that.
had a brain fart,
Yeah, to me, especially because fuel's expensive, and let's get around deadhead from, if we're mowing around the signage, the bridges, I get that. That makes perfect sense, and the intersections, so that people can see. But if somebody's mowed a half mile already, to come back over it at 3 mile an hour, it seems like a waste of time.
Yeah.
And the other piece to this is that I believe his time would be better served in the SEPA grader as opposed to SEPA mower. Surely there's somebody else. I think it's important to keep our blades out doing work. And I talked this morning, there's some areas I drove from Circleville all the way down, several roads over there, all the way back to my house. And it appears that a little bit more time on some of these washouts that are in the first third of a road, that pushing gravel over into them is not changing the situation. The next, if we get another big rain, it's going to follow that same path. So is there something we could spend a little bit more time doing to change the direction of that water so that it's not washing all that gravel right back out? Because when I dropped into one road that had just been graded, I dropped down into that hole. I mean, might as well not even done anything with it. I mean, it just, to me, it just doesn't make sense.
Like you said, we have to fix the problem, which
While you're there.
is ditching. You know, we got to get the water off the road before it's going to fix the washout.
Right. And is there, in some of those situations, because it wasn't maybe, I'm going to say it was 50 feet that washout was there. Can you blade the gravel over to one side, bring some of that dirt out of that ditch, cut just a little bit of a ditch, and bring that into that, wheel roll it in, and then bring that gravel back on top of it? Is that a possibility? Because that's the first thing that comes to my mind, practically.
It depends how deep it is and how far, you know, if you go too far, you take the center out of it, but
Right.
you know, they're all depends on what they look like. But yeah, that is an option for some of them.
So I'd like to meet with you this week, go out and drive some of those, and I want to point out what I'm seeing, and I don't do this every day, but the people who drive these roads see this, and then talk about what the fix is or the solution is to that. So I'll get with you.
And then for tonight, we have our, you know, our spreadsheet from over the year what we've done. Do you want anything else besides that? I mean, obviously you want us there, but I'm not feeling so good. No, I'll be there. So that's that spreadsheet.
No, that'll be all.
Did you meet with your 6 people last week?
Oh, yeah.
Reach out?
Oh, thank you for mentioning that.
We need, since that's personnel, we need to go into executive session for that.
We're not bringing up any names.
Nobody was interested so far.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll continue to pursue that, but I'll talk, you know, I'll come up with a better plan and talk to you more about it. But no one is interested right now. I'm not sure why.
All right.
So I do have one other thing. Have you ever seen a letter from Martin Marietta that prices were increasing July 1?
I haven't, but I just
Had
assume.
some shared with me. I don't know. Maybe you didn't go after everybody.
Mark Marietta down.
Soldier.
Because they bought me.
I've not seen it.
And then we calculated, based on last week's minutes, we went through the 500 tons that we were supposed to get. We followed,
Dated May. I
It
don't
went
know.
so bad. It was gone, I mean.
so the 500 tons was. But what we calculated, since that contract done in 2020 to 25, it should be 2,500 tons. So we still have 2,000. We still have 2,000 tons that we can haul. But we need to verify that with the company and make sure they're on the same page. Because I think this week's board asked that we include the additional 2,500 tons to be added to the contract for the years 2020 to 25. We've already hauled 500. So
Yeah, we did.
The 500 is for 26, so still 2,500 for 2020 to 2025.
thank you. Okay. I thought that was just overall for all. So it's 3,000 total into 26. Okay. So we have 2,500 tons sitting out there. We just need to verify. Was Todd going to check on that? How are we going to verify that, Mark? Because we've got it in.
I thought that John was going to contact him, since he had a contact with him now.
Well, he's the one who said that they were gonna honor that.
He did say that?
Yes,
Because it doesn't reflect that?
that's what he said.
Okay. So that,
Yeah, that they were gonna honor it, I believe,
And he
yeah.
was gonna put it in our new contract.
okay, then I would ask that that be put into the minutes that, that was stated by our attorney, that they would honor that. So, with that, you have another 2,500 ton that can be hauled and used. That should help. I know, it's not enough, but it'll help.
No, you know, especially now those we can.
I know,
Been a
and I appreciate it.
rough, wet summer.
Trust me, I understand.
How's the reclamation work getting it out of the ditches? So,
And
well, it hasn't dried out enough basically to do it yet, has it?
We've got some, there's still some hogs.
And with that, Ally, you're here, and I'll emphasize that August 4th, I really hope people will consider voting for the 0.4% sales tax, because that's several $100,000 that go into the rock budget, directly into the rock budget. It doesn't go anywhere else, it goes into purchasing gravel. And if we don't, let me back up. We estimate about 30% of that is paid by people who don't just travel through the county. And so I think it's the best bang for the buck. And I really hope people will vote yes for that. Otherwise, we're going to have to make that up through ad valorem tax.
Are you guys gonna do any like town halls or like create like an informational graphic or brochure?
That's a great question.
Because I mean, we're like a month away. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's not the only question on the ballot, but you know, that's a big
It would be my recommendation that this board come up with some information for the public reporter,
Sure.
Facebook marketing, and then get the information out to people.
Yeah, but if you, yeah, I'm sure there's some good facts that Christy would have that you guys think are the most important. Just collect some of that stuff. I mean, you know, we'll do a story on it. Yeah.
I think us having a town hall too would be a good thing.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here in the next couple of weeks.
We can talk about town hall. I'm not sure what you accomplish in a town hall, dealing just with that one number. The facts are pretty straightforward. If you don't vote yes for it, we got to come up with $600,000+ to fill in that budget. If you vote yes for it, that's money that you may or may not have to pay, because depends on how much you purchase in Jackson County. I mean,
They need to understand that we already have that sales tax, it's just, we just want to continue it on, it's not a new one.
It's a renewal.
It's
a
renewal, it's not a new one.
so, but we'll get some information to you.
Sure.
Hopefully.
Sure.
I just had to do
Thank you, guys.
that. Yeah.
All right, thanks guys, appreciate it.
Thank you.
I will say one other thing. I do appreciate your attitudes. It's not easy for this board to say, we're cutting money out of gravel. We're cutting employees. It's not an easy decision. And I do appreciate your attitudes towards this, because we don't take those things lightly. I really mean that. Thank you.
Thanks.
Has everybody read their minutes?
I have.
Entertain a motion to approve with corrections.
With corrections.
So it says that he had inquired about the county receiving their tonnage, and they didn't have the records. However, they stated that they would honor the tonnage retroactively.
Okay. So it's,
So is that,
I'm fine with that.
Do you want me to, or do you want me to change it so that it says Todd said that they stated?
I would rather, show that our attorney stated that.
Okay.
You guys are okay with that?
Yep.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. With that, I'll move, motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to approve the minutes of June 29th, 2026 with corrections. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Do you know if we've heard anything back from the sheriff's department about the questions that were asked about the budget?
Last I knew we had not, but we can ask Christie.
Okay, if you would, I would appreciate that for the.
Did you ever get any information back from sheriff regarding questions for budget and stuff?
He pulled out. He can look at his,
Okay.
they work pretty good. So we should be out with his salary, things forward and then.
Yeah, and we had some questions about why some of them raised.
I think that was the last one.
Interesting.
Your supplies when they raised $32,000.
Beside it.
Our expense rates had doubled. CenturyLink basically doubled. Kansas Gas Service went,
This
Way
was the
up.
letter that was shared with me.
I don't know if they said that they had pooled them all together, but
If we missed it,
I don't see them on the last year's
it's not.
budget anywhere, so if they pulled them all together,
Who was this address?
I just don't see them doubling like that.
Okay.
The guy has to.
Is that in
7% increase.
But it's dated May, so you can look at somebody that.
Yeah.
It's gonna print out what they don't.
Okay, thank you.
Counties from. Doesn't give much information.
Todd stated? That's what I had. Do we want to do a motion on this Husker Steel bid?
Say that louder.
Do you want to do a motion on the Husker Steel bid?
Yeah, we probably need to do that, accept that. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the bridge quote from Husker Steel for Q and 110, 3/10 of a mile north of Circleville. Is that right? Q, yeah.
They said Q and 113 down
This one's,
here. Down
this one says junction of Q and 110, 3/10 of a mile north.
right above it.
Q and
Yeah,
113.
113. So we'll go with that one. So the bridge at Q and 113 in the amount of $184,900. $770.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded to approve the bid from Husker Steel for the bridge at Q and 113 in the amount of $184,770. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
I had a call from Attorney Basil about the cleaning down at the health department.
I just called him this morning.
Okay, good.
I called him and Laura Gold both and explained where we were and why.
Okay.
So,
Is Christie coming down today?
He asked for something, so she's probably gonna bring that down.
For what?
He didn't just ask for something with it.
I'm just curious whether we got any answers back from Sheriff's Department about some of the questions that we asked.
So while we're waiting on Christie to come down, then can we have a conversation about putting together some information to go out to the Holt Recorder, Facebook?
Yep.
Do that, to get information out.
Jay, you want to get started?
I'm not sure between now and less than 30 days, August 4th, that it would be beneficial to, I don't know that you could put together a town hall meeting. I think most residents in this county know or are aware of the 0.4% that is currently being levied through sales tax. I just think it's important that people understand what it does, where it goes, and how it's beneficial. I believe it's beneficial to the taxpayers in this county because that spreads that amount over more people than just people who pay property. So I'll open to thoughts on that and how we put that together.
You could talk about it tonight. And were you going
For
to
sure.
do a budget meeting for the public in July?
I think that we had talked about that the last week of July, didn't we?
We've got it, we need to have one, if we were gonna have it with the staff and then have the revenue neutral at that same time.
Revenue neutral has to be done, yeah, I mean, we can do it after we meet that evening.
Maybe you could do it at the same time.
I believe we can. The idea was to not have revenue neutral and the budget hearing the same evening.
I'm
Yes.
talking about the sales tax discussion and the budget
We could
conversation.
bring that up at the same time.
Yeah,
Yes,
it all
yes.
could be brought up at
We
the
could
same
have the
time.
information there too. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good idea. No, we never set a date for that. The meeting.
Want to do that on Monday evening?
13th.
Have the meeting with the staff you're talking about, Mark?
The afternoon, start the afternoon, like 3 o'clock.
That's fair week,
13th is Thursday.
isn't it?
No,
You're gonna,
isn't
No.
it,
Am I wrong?
No, it's fairs next week.
That's what I
is
thought.
it next week?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
we're
early.
gonna have to go to the 20th.
I might not be here the 20th. I'm going to the NACO conference. That's what I'm gonna bring up too. I probably won't be here on the 20th.
How many days will you be gone?
I should be back like Monday during the day sometime, but I don't know for sure when. I hope to be back Monday sometime, but I don't know when.
But so you can do it Monday evening?
I don't know, because I'll be driving in from New Orleans, so I'm not sure when I will be able to do that. So you want to go Tuesday? Yeah, the 21st?
Sure. I think we need to get it in.
Yeah, I agree.
Get that to the department heads. What time do you want to start?
So are we gonna go again from 3 to 7? 3 to 6?
I think we go to 3 to 5, and then it,
If we go 3 to 5, we're gonna get complaints, and we're not getting people that are work out of town that say.
let me finish my statement.
Sure.
3 to 5, and then from 5 to 6, we can have the other meeting, and have the combination. If we go clear to 6, and then, I mean,
Like I say, then we're gonna get the complaint we've gotten in years past, and we're not giving people out of town time to, the opportunity to attend.
okay?
I mean, that's,
Go
you know,
to
we hear
6
that
o'clock.
every year.
Go to 6 o'clock.
And then have the meeting, the revenue neutral meeting from at 6 o'clock.
I can do that
3 to 6.
on the 21st.
Yes.
Are you putting down? We're planning things without you. A budget meeting and a revenue neutral meeting. What do
Yeah, a
you
lot of it
think?
depends on whether finalized. Then we're gonna have more conversation today about budget. We're gonna have them.
Well, I think that one of the first things we need to do is get some things from the sheriff's department, because that's the only thing that we really haven't discussed on all of those. And like I say, I think what we need to do from the explanations that we got when they were saying to split things out from one budget to another, and I was questioning whether what they were splitting out actually adds up to the numbers that were, it wasn't quite adding up. That's what I need to look at.
So how are we gonna get those answers?
We need to get them by next week.
I don't know that we can wait for next week.
Well, then we're gonna have to have a special meeting and get him in here so we can do that.
What about just calling down there now?
We
And
can
saying,
call down there now, but I don't know that we're gonna, calling blind like that, getting him in here with the undersheriff is gonna be kind of tough, isn't it?
I don't know, not without calling. I mean, they have to understand, well, I mean, they need to understand that we can't kick this can down the road
I
every week.
I
So
agree.
let's get on the phone and call and say, hey, we need you up here right now. Let's have the conversation.
That's fine,
They
Danny.
hadn't done anything to Christie.
Do what?
They had,
And they were sent some emails, which said they were kind of vague from what I understood there. So,
This is just. Ask questions. Between August to September. I have it written on the sticky note. on my side of the desk. My little bit of sticky, between me and my desk. Probably the same thing.
I mean, here's one of them right here. We took 50,000 from the administrative budget, okay? Just so you're all looking at what I'm looking at. The administrative budget, they took $50,000 away from technology, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Go back to dispatch, and they added $80,000. And you go to investigations, and they added $4,000.
That's a $34,000 increase so far. If they took one from one and put it into.
Right.
Okay.
And so that was what I was asking.
But I think the explanation.
Yeah.
The explanation on the taking the $50,000 over to the dispatchers, the explanation was they're going to handle some of the tech work. I don't know what that is, but that's what was stated.
The explanation we got also is that when they moved from here to here, and they're increasing, there's another $5,000 for technology that they're requesting for corrections.
$39,000.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we just need to get Tim or.
So can you call the sheriff's office and see if we can get Tim and the undersheriff in here to.
One or the other, if they're both.
Yeah, well, probably better since.
If they're both available.
Probably better with the undersheriff since Tim's running it. You probably try and get both of them in here. Like I said, I just want some answers to questions that we asked, rather than.
So Christie's gonna come down here in a second. This R&R can't be done in July. It has to be done between August 20th and September 20th.
That's what she told us that.
That's what I love about the state. They force us to do it, and then they dictate when we can have the meeting, which makes no sense.
So do you still want to do
Because-
the public meeting that day?
I'd still like to have an informal, how about an informal R&R meeting where the public can ask questions and we can have the conversation? Because the complaint was that if, when we have the R&R and the budget meeting all on the same night, there's not enough time to go back and change things. So maybe we could have more of an informal meeting, not call it a revenue neutral meeting.
Can't be the revenue neutral between, you have to wait till August 20th and September.
But we could have an informal
You can
meeting.
discuss it.
Yeah. That, it just makes no sense.
So we're still having a meeting that night?
I would like to,
And is
But
it
I'll
still
let
3
you-
to 6?
No, that's fine. I think we can have an informal meeting.
Hey, but my baby comes, I won't be here. But Mary will be here.
I don't think not be till August.
She's not.
I didn't know you were pregnant.
She might get, she's looking like a couple weeks maybe. She's pretty miserable. Is it still gonna be 3 to 6 or 3 to 7 or what time?
Did we do 6 last time?
Yeah, 3 to 6, I think is what we need to do.
And write it
Yes,
Yes. Now you want me to call the sheriff's office?
please.
Tentative. This is Tara that lives on some home insurance chambers and they had some budget questions for Tim and John. From their meeting review. Okay. Could you have them call up here or possibly just come up here to the meeting? Okay, thank you. They're in the meeting, she doesn't think it'll be much longer, so
Okay.
you're really soon.
Amy is in, if you guys have any questions on district court budgets.
She back.
Well, she did this morning, she said she could bring down.
Go back. It seemed like there was a question.
Well, it was on that miscellaneous fund, and I kind of talked to her about it. She was within maybe $10,000 of spending that whole budget last year.
Okay, do we have everything handled from the meeting that we need handled? Anybody got anything else for the meeting?
Sounds like we got department staff coming and our heads.
I called them, so she'll relay the message when they get done with the meeting.
So, I mean, for a budget meeting, I'm just going to budget workshop right now.
Yeah, have an informal meeting after from 6 to 7.
No, I mean for right now. Do you have anything more for the formal meeting? Otherwise, let's go into a budget workshop meeting.
No, I don't.
Okay. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Okay, it's probably moving second, adjourn this meeting. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Keith made the motion.
I did.
And you might look at the buildings also. And I know it's hard with them, I mean, they're different, 5 different, 6 different budgets, whatever it is.
It's just the emergency.
Well, and that's the thing, that's what I want to make sure of, that we're not moving our money. And still get, still asking the same thing for an increase.
If you look at that admin sheet coming out,
Uh-huh.
you don't think we go through the bottom section. This is the combined budget.
Okay.
Right, which is 4
This is,
million,
okay, so this is the combined budget.
Is that right?
Yes.
It's 4.28 for this one, do we get a new sheet?
Yeah, because we still have
Yeah, we still have
4387.
Because we hadn't really did them yet, so I hadn't.
And so what he's proposing is 4.212. So So if you subtract those two, that's 174,000 less. in some change.
So we did take out the investigative position and the corrections position.
But no other positions, it's not indicated he's gonna do a reduction in force.
Yeah, if you could print out a new one, so I've got correct numbers, show, appreciate it. Thank
And
you.
do you show the appraiser's office with one less? So I think those are two things I'd like to at least have a conversation about. And then based on our conversation with Joe this morning, nobody has indicated that they want to take that early retirement. So I think it would be our opportunity to say, we had talked about 2 employees, and so that would be up to Joe and Matt to find that reduction. Hi, Mary.
Hey, Mary. So, and one more thing, the email from John Calhoun shows there's an attachment on it. It's an attachment.
No, I guess they want to.
I don't know what the attachment is.
So at this point in time, how much higher is the sheriff's budget than it was last year?
Give me a minute, let's see if
Okay.
I can get this to one.
That's fine. Because we got a lot of papers floating around, a lot of stuff. And again, I wish that when he did his budget, he would do it like everybody else and just combine them all in one. So maybe that's a requirement that we're gonna ask for next year, because to have it broke out that way, it's just.
It would make things so much simpler
I
to
mean,
do
thanks
it
for
that way,
too.
rather than trying to go
That's all right.
between,
Basically robbing Peter to pay Paul.
yes. Sometimes politics ends up getting more that we don't see.
Hey, can you print off also on the email from John? There's an attachment.
If you want to, you can just forward an email. Yeah, that's fine with me.
Alright, thanks.
Yeah, you don't want that, that's perfect.
Get rid of this, that makes sense.
Thanks.
Language.
It's tricky when we can't print, we need to.
There's something I can figure out.
I can't even find it.
Yeah, looks like it's just completely off that.
I can't even find the print.
You should have that. Keys.
There's-
Okay, for 2016, they were granted $4,088,861.40. And for 27, I have them setting at $4,280,768.25. So roughly 270,000. Which could be in the benefits,
Can be in the what?
and their benefits could be in their salaries. Because they are the one department that is set to get increases after 5, 10, 15, 20 years.
All departments are set that way, right?
The sheriff is set up differently because he has, I don't want to call it a step, I don't want to call it,
Longevity.
Longevity.
yeah, because they don't get the incentive until they've been there for over 10 years.
So currently, the way the budget's set with the mills, that's included in that. So that would be a question we need to understand, is part of that in those step increases from salary or longevity?
And are you guys going to need anything worked into the bridge budget for what we discussed this morning?
We don't really need anything.
Anything worked into the budget for 27 for what you talked about this morning, the bridges?
I don't believe so. I think everything should be set from,
Yeah, there was enough in the capital
yeah,
improvement for bridges to cover actually all three of those projects and still have a fair amount of money left over. And most of these projects, Christie, probably won't either be started or completed until 27. So I think we're putting $120,000, that's what we budget for that. So good there.
It's a long period. Mark on that utility line
Mm-hmm.
on vehicles, it's because he's split out all the utilities.
Okay.
He's appropriated into each department they should go to.
So, and so that's kind of what he had indicated. But then like on Kansas Gas Service, he went from in 26, 1850 to 4100 in the admin for 27. And he cut City of Holton by $5,000, so is that the utilities that he is putting into vehicles? Like utilities are in vehicles, aren't they? For $8,400. When he cut 5,620 out of the other. So I'm not quite sure just where.
You
And
still
in
have the
City Hall,
sheets he brought up, you still have the sheets that he brought up, have you looked at those, because remember, I have to bring mine out.
yeah, I'm glancing at those, but so what I'm saying is that the numbers don't add up from what he took away from one budget and said that he was gonna split out. They're not adding up their effective increase on those. That's all I'm asking is why.
So when you get a Kansas Gas Service bill for the sheriff's office, is it just one bill?
I think it's broken into two, I think there's no corrections in there for the sheriff's department. That's how it
Well
is.
then, okay, so
So-
there's one for the corrections and one for the sheriff's, and why do we have utilities broken out into vehicles?
So do
What
we
is
know
that?
how much total of each, and then can we just,
I mean, does utility shop include gas service, City of Holton, Century Link, so on and so forth? If it does, why is it? That doesn't make sense, you know what I mean?
I can't answer that because I don't know how he's set it set up.
And did we take miscellaneous out of everybody else's?
We took miscellaneous and reimbursement.
So we've still got $40,000 worth of miscellaneous sitting in this one,
On which one?
Sheriff's Administration.
can you tell what they take out of there?
And I'm just saying, if we pulled it out, everybody else would need to pull it out of there too. In my opinion.
Okay, miscellaneous, it looks like Lisa Pikeman, Tori Waters, Kirk Schindler, which is IT guy. Porter, so phone services,
What services?
phone services,
Like,
.08, so that's gonna be the long distance, there's one long distance coming in. Then they have mail corrections officers week, postage, meals, supplies, EC gutter, solo, sprayer, tape measure, faucet, toilet lever.
wouldn't that be under building maintenance? For $10,000, what they've got in there now?
I think so. You've got common insurance in here for 50, which I'm assuming is probably for a notary. For shop level, just paid out of this, it's $800 for contract services.
Who?
Kirk Schopler, he's an IT guy they hired.
Well, then,
Why
that
don't
would
we
be
have
under
it?
technology,
It would be under,
not under miscellaneous.
It's $20,000.
Lisa Pike gets paid out of this for her. Looks like,
And so what does Lisa, how much does she get paid? I mean, is she,
well, in May she got $1,800.
how much?
$1,800
When?
in May.
For her grant writing?
I'm assuming that's all she does for now.
But that funds are still in the red, aren't they? Every time I look at that, they're
So if it's in the red, why are we still paying her?
in the grant funds.
It's the two, we've got at least 2 grant funds that are for it.
Again, we need representation, right, I was asked these questions, so. Until they get here,
Did you say Amy wanted to come down and talk?
well, I was just gonna, I started to put some facts down about the 4%.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm just gonna read this, we can change
Sure.
anything or all.
I think I misspoke.
What's that?
This Kirk Schopler, she says is not their IT man, it's an Andrew somebody, and he's on payroll. I don't-
Their IT through vehicles.
But we just need to find out what he does.
It just says contract services.
On August 4th, a yes vote for 4% sales tax renewal will save having to increase property taxes. Facts. Sales tax grows the burden among more people. Sales tax is paid by approximately 30% of people, is paid by people, 30% outside of Jackson County, people outside of the county. All money from the 0.4% goes to gravel. This sales tax has been collected since 2004, 5.
What's before that, I think it's when we do it.
Before that.
Yeah, I can get you a definite date upstairs.
So it's been renewed 3 times, 21 years. 7 years each one. So that's 2000 something. Okay. Other thoughts, facts that people would want to know?
Taxes are going
if-
up as the bill passed?
How many bills will we possibly increase if it does not pass?
Let's see, we get.
We get 48,000 roughly a month, so that's 576,000 annually. So it'd be 4 mills basically.
It's about 167, 6 basically.
I'll just divide it by 162. 3.5. That was interesting. I asked Christie to do a percentage of what the current if we were to go with current budget, the mills increase, it's a 1.8% increase. I say that because if you look at Social Security, it went up in 2026 by 2.8%. So if people want a comparison, there's a comparison. A lot of people always say, well, you're exceeding people on fixed incomes income. Just food for thought.
Yeah.
Anything else under facts that you would want in there, or how we would,
There's really, I mean,
it's pretty straightforward.
it's
Not
pretty
much to
straightforward,
tell,
yeah.
right, it's for gravel limits. To continue. Maybe at some point too, we could have the before, put it on the change board out there. Just,
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
to vote for it.
And you were gonna make this, you were gonna increase that, right? I think that, somewhere along the line too, we need to show whether it's on this or what the budget was that was proposed. The total budget was that was proposed and what we've got it down to.
It's kind of, what's your sheet have? I've got one that they started at like my details.
No, we don't have that on this
I
one.
got it on there.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
you start
we
from the
need-
beginning, yeah.
Yeah, we need to show what we were given and what we got it down to. And did you say Amy wanted to come down and talk to us?
She said if you had any questions, she would be. The only question you had was on the miscellaneous fund. Look back at it and she's,
See, that rent we signed, it's $75,000 in rent, does it ever get cleared up?
And
Because I've never understood what it does. But they're always in the red. It always was.
Oh, the repairs maintenance? Is that, so what do they, so what do they do with that? I mean, where's that going for the $42,000? Because I would think that repairs and maintenance ought to come out of the building fund, or out of the building budget, not district court, wouldn't you?
I don't think that's what the, I don't think that's what's being out there. Last year, they paid underground vaults and storage, the shred services, and they paid managed services to Net Network LLC. Iron Mountain, I think is also in the shred service.
I think it is.
how much was the underground vaults and storage? Is that the much?
It's, this one was $26.25.
Not much.
Whatever Net Network LLC is $1,971. That's a new contract, what that is. Remote access. It's basically, it looks like those four things. Underground vaults and storage, Net Network, Iron Mountain.
Well, I would think they need to change their line item
Yeah,
from
it's
repair
not
and maintenance
repair and
to,
maintenance.
you know, that's not repairs and maintenance.
What's the biggest amount out of repairs and maintenance? We've named off $26, $1,000.
It's gonna be that net at work for $1,971.68.
Is that on a monthly basis? But if she's available, she can answer.
Yeah, she can answer that question. What was the total that they spent last year in repairs and maintenance?
Last year they spent $30,792.46, and they had a budget of $44,000. This year they're sitting at $12,876.19. Review budget. To $46,000. So they probably.
I think we need to whittle that down. But then again, I think we also ought to change that line item from repairs and maintenance to whatever she wants to call it, because that is, you know, that is, yeah, I'd call it.
Hey, Amy, what time is it now? Well, you threw me when you answered the phone. Okay, thank you. Bye. She will come down.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Alright.
Good.
Got some questions?
Basically just the one, and I'm gonna suggest that on repairs and maintenance, we change the line item name from repairs and maintenance to shredding or storage, shredding and storage or something, because that repairs and maintenance just doesn't quite make sense with what's being spent.
I mean, I agree, but there's a lot that comes out of that. So I just need to come up with something creative. Like
Not the
contract services, maybe. That's what a lot of it is.
Yeah. I'd rather have contract services.
This is for
So what is there was one there was Iron Mountain, is that what it was?
That's our salt mine storage.
That was $26.
I think we want.
What's the largest?
At work, the.
Network,
Oh,
that's our IT
network,
vendor.
that's what it was.
Yes,
That's our IT
the big one.
vendor.
That's your IT vendor,
Mhm.
okay? shouldn't that be split out from there and put into a technology, or would that make sense? I mean,
Yeah, if you could run, that'd be great.
to me, it's, we're trying to get things to where they're actually make sense as to what we're looking at, you know what I
Let
mean?
me see what my requirements are for this.
All right.
State, I suppose, so.
Oh, we don't care what the state says.
I know, but I don't want to split two budgets. I already do, but I'll make it more. I mean, if you want to break that out completely to its own line item, I will have to revamp this, but I can do that. And I could
Really for next year, I'm not worried about this year, because we got some
Well,
explanations as to what we're
You mean
doing.
2027 or 2028?
2028.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I could put that
Right.
under,
Yes, but I mean, as far as splitting it out now, if I get some explanations what we're doing, so you don't have to worry about, you know, in the next
right,
days
so
doing
for
it.
2028, I could specifically break that off under computer services, but I'd have to get a new line item added.
Okay.
Through the county.
Sure.
But yeah, I could specifically break that off to be computer services.
Like I said, when I was reading repairs and maintenance, it just kind of
Well,
threw
if
me.
we split it out of there, I would need two separate line items, one for contractual services and one for computer services. So you could rename the one and then add one, right?
And how much was spent out of last year?
32 or 36?
I have 30,782.
Okay.
So your increase is,
Actually, I decreased that line item from
okay.
2026 to
Yeah.
2027.
okay.
I do believe our IT services are going to be going up. Judge Elder and I just had a meeting with them last week. They restructure a little, plus they want us to have 24-hour, 7 days a week monitoring, which we don't currently have, and I think that's a good idea. But we are also we're gonna put out bids, choose some other vendors to make sure we're getting a comparative price, before we renew our contract with them.
When's your contract?
I believe that we have 5 different contracts throughout the district, and we're looking at rolling them all into one contract. So
Okay.
if we do that, they're willing to work with us on what the end date is, because they all have different end dates and start dates, so.
Well, that doesn't make it too easy on us if we try to set a budget, because, I mean, if you spent $30,000 last year for that, so that you're looking at a $12,000 increase? Possibly?
Not just, no. No. We're just looking at an increase. So I know there was an initial question of could I reduce that even more than the 4,000 I already reduced it?
Yes.
And the answer is maybe.
Well,
But then am I going to be coming to you guys later and asking for money
That's-
because other things go up? Because we do use that also for repair and maintenance. So like, let's say one of our microphones breaks, or one of our something goes down. If we don't have it in our office equipment budget, then we have to pull it from somewhere. Luckily, our sound system, because we didn't have much in capital outlay, we could have covered in capital outlay, but we were able to get a grant. But that just shows that a new sound system, we know we can get one for $10,000 or $14,000, whatever that would cost. But ultimately, they're more like a $35,000 system.
Sure.
And so, we pinched and cut corners in the small courtroom because we knew we would never have a jury trial in there and things like that. But that money then is also there to help cover some of those unexpected repairs that we don't budget for because we aren't expecting them, I guess.
Well, then, so what is your office equipment budget?
So that was for computer and server in the last 2 years. 1 year we did
Right.
computers, last year we did servers. And so we'll have more laptops because the laptops are now going to be on at 3 to 5, depending on the laptop, rolling every 3 to 5 years we'll be updating laptops.
So you may not spend it 1 year, but you roll it into capital outlay and you save for it, and then you.
Right, and
Right.
we haven't updated printers in our office since I've been here, so every one of our printers is at least 3 years old. And our scanners are getting a lot of hit right now. I have a scanner. I have 2 scanners that aren't really working right now properly, but we're cribbing them by because we're hoping that maybe we won't need scanners for real long.
with all the scanning we're doing right now, we have a part-time summer help up there who's just scanning like crazy. And so, I don't have budgeted for any of those things. I don't have budgeted for new scanners or new printers or any of that. So
Sure.
if any of those go down, that's the line item we would use.
From the office equipment, understand that.
No, from the repair and maintenance.
So the copier lease, the $4,200, that's just for the lease, that's not for,
That's just for the copier lease.
and so you said those have not been replaced?
No, we just
Or
did
the
the
printers have not been
copier.
replaced? Are they printer copiers, or what are they?
They're
Just
their
printers?
desktop scanners.
No, we were talking about printers, so you said the printers have not been,
The printers or the scanners have not really been replaced since I've been here.
okay, that's what I said, so are they printer copiers, or they're just straight copiers?
No, we have printers and we have scanners.
Two different pieces.
Two different pieces of equipment.
And we have copiers.
But the copier, that is our big main copier.
And then what my question was, are they copier printers, printer copiers, or are they just copiers and
Okay.
printers?
Hang on, let me explain. At each desk, there is a scanner and a printer.
Okay,
The copier line item is for our big office copier that folds our jury and all that. Which is
Yes.
the copy, scanner, printer, fax, folder. But that's the only thing that covers is our contract for our Rico printer. That's our office.
okay, so it is a printer copier?
Yes.
Yes, okay, that was my question, that's all I asked.
Okay, sorry, there was
Yeah.
confusion about what we were talking about.
So the printers, each desk has a printer?
That's correct.
Okay. So I think, honestly, I believe in the repair and maintenance, we're gonna have to try to whittle that down just a little bit more if we can. I mean, we're looking at, it's some hard cuts, and we're cutting things where I'm having a hard time asking people to cut.
Let me just see where I'm already at.
You're at almost 13,000, 12,876.
I mean, I can try. I mean, I felt like I was doing a pretty good job of cutting my own budget since what
I
I
agree,
increased for
everybody
attorney's
did a
fees.
good job cutting their own budget.
And I get that, but keep in mind that we've been over budget for the last 3 years. Last year was the first year we actually had a decent budget.
Sure.
And so I'm trying to still play that fine line of not having to come to you guys later and say, look, I'm gonna be over budget. I did cut my expenses, and what was added was attorney's fees, which I have absolutely no control over, and we were over on attorney's fees last year, technically, but we were able to cover it with other line items.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. How much have you reduced your budget so far? Is it 14,000 what we do?
Let me see. I know I increased it by 20,000, I think, for attorney's fees. And so,
Based on what I have here in front of me, I have $534,200 as your total budget.
so I decreased my repair and maintenance by 4,000. And then I decreased my printing and office supplies by 2,000. And I decreased my office equipment by 5,000.
Mhm.
And I did have to bump a few other things up, for instance, interpreter fees. We have a jury trial, we have to pay 2 interpreters 8 hours coming up at the end of this month. And then we have Pastor Hector coming every Monday, it will probably be close for what I increased it for.
Christie, based on what we have here, what was their budget for last year? Because all we have is 27, the difference in granted for 27.
Last year, my budget was 532,755.
532. So your increase is about $2,000.
No, my increase would be 17 something.
1875.
Then
But-
this is not right.
Well, 20,000 of that is attorney's fees. Everything else I decreased to make up for the attorney difference. See what I'm trying to say? It did go up, but just the attorney's fees alone increased 20,000. I decreased all my line items to try to help make up for that.
So here's what I see. At the end of the day, you can decrease it anything you
want to, but what you spend is what you spend, and we have to pay it because we're mandated by the state of Kansas. And so I appreciate the fact that you've tried to bring it into line to where they reflect real numbers. I think we leave it alone, just call it what it is. I mean, because I would rather budget for it than not budget for it and go, okay, now where are we pulling that money from?
And that's kind of where I come from. Like I said, this budget has been a mess since I was hired. Last year was the first year that I feel like I somewhat had it whittled down. And what did we end up? I think we only ended up with, what did we do with capital outlay last year? It wasn't a whole lot.
Yeah. So,
No, and I appreciate the fact that you cut where you had to or cut where you felt you needed to. Like I say, we got to make some tough choices this year. It's just all
And I
there is to
mean, the other thing is, give me another year with Bethany and I might be able to cut my jury trial budget a little. I don't know. We're still
Sure.
getting the feel for how that's going to go. But again, it's kind of like attorney fees. It's something we have no control over, and we could go way under budget or we could go way over budget with that.
understand.
I guess my recommendation then would be that we just, they really quite a bit and we just stop right there.
I mean, I just don't know. I mean, I can try to cut some out of it, but like I said, I just don't know where that would come from. And, I mean, we've gone over by quite a bit the last 2 years, so.
Sure. All right. We'll just leave it where it's at, see where we go.
Okay.
Okay?
And I'll work on it for 2028, I promise.
Okay.
I'm very budget minded.
Thank you.
Yep.
What's up, buddy? How are you? Well, you know.
I'm sure Tim apologizes, but under the circumstances without getting into what's going on with him, I'm up here.
That'll work.
We'll communicate together.
I think one of the things, just for you to keep in the back of your mind for the 28 budget, is we would rather see all these in one budget form, not broke out, patrol, canine, communications, one budget, list them, be done. This is way too
And you can break them out. You can break them out back there however you want to.
You can break them out 100 different ways. But for budget purposes, you can list that you need for personnel, you need X number of dollars. It will just make the process simpler for us.
I think overall for them.
I don't see a need, I don't see a reason behind breaking them out so many different ways. I mean, you've got just, two ways. So just keep that in mind, back in mind. If you have more in 27 before you get started, if you have questions, reach out to us, we'll try to walk through it.
So just to jump in, like on the administrative, okay, you've got everything broken out here as far as utilities, Kansas Gas, City of Fulton, phones, the whole 9 yards. But then we go back to, and you took the City of Fulton down $5,620. Okay? You increased everything else, but you took that down, but then you go back to the vehicles, and for utilities is where you added that in, and we came up with $8,400 that you added in for utilities, if you split it out of the admin. So if you split it out of the admin, and you only took $5,600 out of City of Fulton, but you increased your phone and everything else, where does this all play into for one line item utilities at the shop?
Well, but basically what I did is went back to, I looked at all of 25, the end of year reports, and then I took also the year-to-date through the end of April, I think is when I started working on the budget. And I used that.
Sure.
So then separating it out, I basically just went off those reports, looked at the end of year 2025 and then looked at the year-to-date for the first 4 months. And then I, of course, timed that by 3 and just for the projections, so.
Sure, but you see where the disconnect is though, right? With $5,600 taken off and then $8,400 added on to this one. When you said that you were taking and splitting it out, but that's $3,000 more for this one, and so is with utilities at the shop, is there phone service at the shop?
We took out the landline, so we're just using mobile now.
Okay, so is that included in the $8,400?
No, that should be included in the phone portion.
In the admin for Verizon?
Yeah.
So you raise that
All our phones
$5,000?
are taken out of well, not Verizon, it's AT&T now. It was Verizon and was switched over.
Okay, so it's no longer Verizon?
Yeah.
Okay.
The only Verizon we have, is there's a small monthly now, for the judges, an iPad that we paid for signing search forms.
Okay.
That's the only, and that's a small one, less than $100 a month, I think. Everything else is built into the AT&T.
So then did you split out for utilities? Did you split out Kansas Gas Service?
I don't think I split out the gas, I think I split out the electricity. City Hall, yeah, I did City Hall, I did all that. Because we have I think I mentioned before, the big thing is our cooler out there.
Yeah, with the generators. Yep. So there again, we still have a disconnect here of $3,000, over $3,000 from utilities that you split out for the shop, but not what you took away from the admin. See what I'm saying? That it's just not adding up. Where you took it away from one and put it in another, the numbers don't add up.
The only thing I could go back and look to see, I mean, that could be but again, what I did is I utilized the reports.
Sure.
So all of 2025 may be different than the year to date on 26, and that may be different. That may be the first 4 months of 2026 could be different than what we've seen in 2025.
Okay.
But still, I understand what you're saying on the budget portion side. It's reflected.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. And then, technology is another one. You decreased in the admin 50,000. Okay. Then hang on, I'm trying to go through all of these. So then you added 4,000 in investigations. You added 80,000 in dispatch. And you added 5,000 in corrections. So what you took away and out of the admin does not add up to all of them that you split out into the different ones.
And that one I can explain more because there's more added in there because of there's hardware. Like all the admin, I can tell you the sheriff's computer, my computer, and two of the gals there admin, we kind of left money in there that we took out. We transferred all of the big fund that we pay Interpol and put it in the dispatch. And then we left areas of hardware that needs to be replaced. I know our computers are like 2016, so they're going on 9-10 years. So there's hardware that needs to be replaced there. So that is why the increase, that's why you see the increase in that area.
So that's the increase in, I'm trying to get back where we were, which was dispatch. That's why you increased it in dispatch that much? Because you took 50,000 out of technology, okay, and left 20,000 in the admin. So that would be to upgrade your computers for admin, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So then why the $30,000 increase in dispatch from the 50,000 that you took out of the admin?
That's just true accurate costs. The majority of that is from our Interpol records management CAD system, our monthly and our annual subscriptions to all of that. That's about what that runs.
So were you in the red on technology for the last several years? Because 27, you only had $70,000 granted to pay for everything out of technology.
I wouldn't say we were in the red, we just haven't really been on the hardware we've gotten behind. But in all areas, we've gotten behind on replacement of hardware, so we've just kind of been.
So the 80 grand that you're looking for dispatch, it's going to pay for Interpol and everything like that. That's no hardware in there at all. That's just your subscription fees to everything.
Yeah.
Well, and there again, the numbers don't add up. I just don't quite see where they're adding up at. With what you're taking away from technology out of admin and putting them together and raising it that much, plus putting technology fees into each one of the others, the numbers just don't add up, John.
Well, the easiest way to do that is really go back. I mean, we can pull up Interpol specifically and see what we have in fees, which is what I did, and then the hardware would be separate. But the Interpol is more or less support.
Okay. So there again, I'm going to echo Keith and say next year this is not going to be acceptable. We can't have 5 different 6 different budgets that we're pulling money out of this one and saying we're splitting it out, we're going to put it here, and then increase everything in several different other budgets. It's the same thing, with more money than what you pulled out of the admin or one budget. The numbers don't add up. And I'm not saying they're right or wrong, I'm saying trying to chase the dollars, which is what we're doing this year, is a little tough to do, and I think you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. And
well, I'm just trying to be more descriptive for accountability for each department. But I understand you guys, it's easier for you just to see a total number, well, and go from there.
Yes.
But to me, it's showing us more of where our expenses are coming from more directly than what we've done in the past.
And that's fine, but if the budget just read sheriff department or sheriff, and then you had technology, and it's anything that the sheriff is budgeting for technology, doesn't matter what department, what area it's going into, it's just technology. So technology to me would be software, updates, it would be your Interpol, I suppose, that type of thing. But if you're purchasing hardware, you would have that under computers or hardware, your hardware, that type of thing. Doesn't matter whether it's the shop, in corrections, it doesn't matter where it is. If you're replacing a computer, you have one line item for that type of stuff. If that makes sense. You guys can go back and look at your reports and see what corrections spent on, ink last year. We don't. It doesn't need to be in here for that.
Yeah. And so one of the other questions we had was your miscellaneous fund. there's some things being paid out of the miscellaneous fund that don't quite make sense on that. And Christie, do you have some of those at your hand? I know I've had to bounce around several different things this morning.
Yeah, Kurt Schlotter,
The what?
Schlotter, Schunder, I don't know how to say his last name.
Who is it? What does he do?
Let me see.
Is it monthly?
Yeah.
Here? Oh, okay, that's our contract with, mental health.
With mental health?
Which,
So-
which again, get back to the medical portion. The medical program, we have our medical contract with HDC. And then, the reports are not broken down individually, but that's a stipend. We pay him so much per month, so many hours per month for mental health services.
Do you not utilize Kansas
Kansas mental health?
that we pay an appropriation to every year for the county?
That's the way we've had a contract with them before I got here, but yes, we,
And what does that individual do? Does he come into the jail and meet with,
yeah, just mental health services within the jail.
but it's for employees or for
No,
guests?
for inmates.
Inmates, okay.
I didn't Kansas say that when they came in here that they were that they were coming into the jail and doing? Does Kansas come into the jail?
Without getting into that, I mean, I know there's been some concerns in recent years, having the availability of cans that have come in. But yes, that is a service that I feel should be offered.
Well, if we're paying for the county, then yeah, I mean, I think that I think we need some little more explanation on that as to why you're using
Why
an
we're not
outside
utilizing-
service and not utilizing Kansas.
You know, like I said, that was there before, but
Sure.
we do pay, what is it, about $800 a month, I think.
Yeah, we're around that. And then we have Lisa Hyde.
Yes. Walk us through why we're paying her. I think last month we paid her $1,800. Lisa Hayden.
She writes the grants. Now, I've written a couple since I got here, but she's written the the victims, and that's basically a fee. She writes it, and then she administers it, and she sends a quarterly bill for. That's the one I know. The JAG grant, which we've applied for, but we didn't get it last year, so that should not be anything billable in 2026. And that's something I'm going to take on probably in the next year, because I've done those for years, but it's just for grant services that she writes and administers grants. Well, that's a pretty good size.
Is it normal for a grant fund to run under I don't know on grants, like, we have a couple that are, well, usually we're at all year. Is that normal?
And where are those shown at? Are they on?
See, we apportion so much of those salaries, because there's two people, correct?
Yes.
Do you understand that? We're apportioning so much of their salary in a certain fund for reimbursement to come
They're all
through.
No.
grants.
And that's in the investigation side.
They're an employee.
They are, but a percent of their salary, their wage, gets put to this grant for us to be getting reimbursement on.
Lisa Hayden is an employee.
No. There's two employees we have on staff that this grant is based on. Yes. And that's the one that's showing really. I know the one year I said we didn't get any money in.
So the grant's not covering the 2 employees.
The portion that we set aside for reimbursement for the grant. Because we don't set the whole salary aside, wage aside,
Just a
right?
portion.
Just a portion.
Like this one's $75,000 in the red, one of them's $9,216 in the red, and the other one's $6,540 in the red.
And if it's something that is confidential and it needs to be spoken or talked about because of security, we can't do it today because we've already adjourned, but we could do it later if that's the case.
I don't think necessarily that would really have to be, because that's just a matter of a grant that we receive for investigations to carry out their duties, and like she said, a portion of it goes towards their salaries. It funds a position,
Okay.
and that's some of,
Is it like a year behind payment wise, or how do you get payments for?
I think when we receive that funding.
You just set up the new council on the show. So I don't know when it goes, that real technical dates it's in effect. Usually they run on an annual cycle.
Yeah.
With the beginning
I
and
mean,
end
for
date.
the older ones, I don't know if
Well, we went the whole year without receiving any.
And
And that's
probably
gonna
that-
carry over, then that's what our big.
And that's a federal grant, so that probably runs off their fiscal year.
Which is probably in July 1st and June 30th.
Like I just wrote a grant 3 or 4 months ago, and I've been waiting on a response. It's through Senator Moran's office. It's appropriation funding, congressional appropriation funds. So I called him last week to get an answer. If we get it, it'll be next year this time. And I said, why are we so far out? And I said, that's just the way the system works, and it's got such a process that they have to go through that it takes a year and a half before you get an award. So
One of the things that I visited with Tim, the sheriff, about was a reduction in force. Have you guys had any conversation about that?
he did mention, I mean, we have talked with,
I know it's tough.
and that's one thing we discussed, and it came around, we want to do whatever we can to help the process. We don't want to get into, we don't really feel we have any room to reduce staff, and we really, if we get to that point, we would like more of an executive session, because when you start talking about cutting positions, the anxiety hits.
I understand, sure.
So that's something, but we're willing, basically, obviously, you're gonna set the budget, you're gonna tell us either you want this dollar amount, or you're gonna make a recommendation that we cut, and that's something we'll have to tackle, but that's just something we really don't want to get into discussing without executive session if it gets to that point.
Yep. Okay. Do we want to set that on next week's agenda to have that conversation? Or do we feel like the budget is where it needs to be? Or are we going to ask John to go back and find some other things?
Well, have we communicated where we're at with the budget that I've done with payroll so far? That we removed that investigator that you spoke of, that open position, out of the budget at this point. And then there's also a corrections facility that's been an open position for quite some time. At this point, that's kind of been taken out, trying to get numbers.
That's one that we did not take out, did we? I don't think we took
Well,
that out.
in our numbers that we're looking at, we have tried.
Right. So basically to get to the mill levy, which it is right now, if we were going to set it, we would have an increase of how many bills right now?
Let's see.
It's 4.88.
Right close to that.
Yeah.
Okay. So right now it's at 4.88. That's what we had asked Mary to do, was go ahead, those two open positions, what would the mill levy look like if we pulled those out? If we put those back in, we're gonna be at least another mill at least, probably, with salary and benefits. So it gives us a picture of what things would look like without actually having to tell an employee, a currently employed person, you're no longer employed.
With the open position, that's not as bad to discuss.
Right, I just want you guys to have awareness of what we're looking at.
Yeah. So,
And I'm gonna say if that was something we needed to do, we could probably, the jail side, because we are functional with that. My only concern why we left it in, and it is, we can't predict the future. The new law that took effect July 1, the judges are not going to be able to OR near as many inmates out, so we should see a local number increase for our local inmates, which
OR is an
Overcognizance.
undercognizance. So in other words, that's a good way to speed them out. Same way with medical bills. A lot of times we'll get ORs out to save us the expenditures of medical bills. Well, it's going to be a little tougher now, so we're going to incur some more medical bills, likely than what we have because of this new law. And if we see our numbers go up 10 inmates a day on the average more,
What does
we
that
need
do?
the staff.
What does that do to your housing payment? Is that gonna affect?
if there are our own prisoners, nothing.
Well, we do have room. I mean, we'd love to have more federal prisoners, but
Do you think where we've got the budget sitting,
well,
you think that's too high possibly?
well, if we're not taking care of the federal inmates, we'll lose them. And we do depend on them. And I will tell you, I'm still in negotiation. Matter of fact, I had a call last week, so I'm expecting some sort of answer on what we brought to you earlier in the year. Revising the per diem on federal inmates, which I'm optimistic that we're going to get some more, but we're close to finding out how much in a few weeks, no more than a month. So that's where we're on the deal. We could probably take it out,
And the investigator we've got in for.
but hope we don't jeopardize the safety of the inmates and the staff at the jail. That's our concern.
How long has the Vincent's been filled?
Well, since I've been here, it's been open.
It's been open since I've been here, that's why we kind of looked at it, so.
Yeah.
So one of the other things I noticed as we went through, there's a lot of meals. Some of them fairly expensive. I think if we could curb that, if the guys transport prisoners, they're just going to foot their own bill. I don't know that it's, if you're a truck driver and you're running from here to Colby, you pack a lunch, if you stop and get a lunch, you're paying for it yourself. There's just a lot of, I see a lot of those.
I don't know that that's gonna be a good idea. I mean,
What's that?
I mean, we put a dollar amount on it, but I don't think that we need to say you gotta put your own bill for when you transport prisoners or something like that. There should be a dollar amount like per diem like we have on our expense reports too.
People do have a meal cost, they just need to abide by that meal cost, and if they go over it, they need to reimburse them.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there are.
Do you ever have a problem with that with us? I try to catch it, but if you do, I need to know so I can take a better look at that. So you do have, okay.
I don't think it's been as frequent, I mean, a couple years ago it was pretty frequent. I think it's gotten better. But they just need to know that, is it 10, 15, and 20? Does that sound right?
It's different for breakfast,
Yeah,
lunch, and supper.
I think it's 10 breakfast, 15, 20. It might be a little higher. They just need to know if you go over this amount, you have to pay it.
Right. And if it's included in your conference registration fee,
That's different.
you don't get the meal allowance out of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, I got one on vehicles, and that are you looking at this sheet here? Do you have these sheets?
I've got so many here,
I know. Tell me about it. And what I'm looking at here is, well, wait till you see if you find that Christie printed off.
John, here's specifically what the commissioners are looking, just so you have the sheet they're looking at, that might be helpful.
Yeah. Okay, so under vehicles, you took $15,000 out of maintenance, and I'm assuming transferred it down to these others with tools and supplies, repairs, tire and parts, equipment. But that comes up for all those, looks like new line items, because you didn't request anything on those in 2026. So that comes up to $63,400 with the utilities, tools and supplies, repairs, tire and parts and equipment. But you pulled 15 out of the top for maintenance. Was that the maintenance for the vehicles that you were pulling that for and separating it out down to here? Utilities, we've already got the explanation on that.
Yeah.
So then take out the $8,000 and that still leaves us down to what, 55? 55,000 that I don't know where this came from or where the line items were, pulled into, because back, it seems to me that there was a tire, where was that we had an increase in tires?
Which we buy off the state contract, but it's through
Sure.
Ompos or whatever. Couple of big things too that changed theirs. Unfortunately, when something happened out there, I can think of two things just off the top of my head right now. But we had to buy that lift, which was $40-some hundred. A scanning device to code on the vehicle. That was for those are unbudgeted items, but it seems like there's 3, 4, 5 things a year that come up to several $1,000s a year that have not been budgeted or not, but they're kind of unexpected things, which you have in budgets.
Right.
But as far as vehicles, whatever we did there, but the sheriff was buying 5 vehicles or building 5 vehicles per year. So we have, I think this year we've done 3 or 4, and we're basically having to drop back to 3 or 4 vehicles a year. And then obviously we try to sell some. We're not taking as much in as asset forfeiture where we're selling vehicles and able to put that towards building new vehicles. I remember my days, you could buy a whole new car with what it costs us to just outfit a new vehicle for.
Right.
So,
well, I'm just trying, I'm not disputing any of that. I'm just trying to figure out where these numbers came from. If you're splitting things out like this, where they came from in the budget. Did they come from the admin budget? If they did, were they in there? I just, like I say, the numbers just don't add up.
What do you mean? Help me understand what you mean, where they came from, because it appears to me that
if you look
just in the vehicles, if they're increasing it, they're just increasing it. Are you asking, did they take money from one, like from patrol, and add it?
That's up here in the top of vehicles. You see up the top line item, maintenance. They took $15,000 off of there. Is that what is split out down here in tools, repairs, tires, and equipment? If so, that raised $55,000 from 15. I'm saying, where are they coming up with these numbers at?
Because there wasn't anything there before.
There wasn't anything here from last year, so where are these numbers coming from? That's all I'm asking. Well, I don't understand. Yeah, I don't understand.
I think probably the confusion and mistake I made is when I do the budgets, I go back and utilize all the reports and I dig them out, which is what I got this step. And then I get an itemized list of expenditures. And I try to go through there, and that's what I tried to do. So I can see where it's confusing to you. You guys are looking at the big numbers, and I was looking at
actual
I can understand that, John. So out of maintenance last year, what did they spend out of maintenance last year? Because you had $15,000 granted in 2026 is what you had in maintenance. Requested 22 and 15,000 was granted. I'm just gonna make you jump all over that today.
I'm gonna get to the rear.
You have $63,400.
I'm looking at end of November of last year, 25, we had spent $20,784. Wait a minute. Let's see, here's the expense.
Vehicle maintenance,
Yes.
22,000 was for 25. I have 1,307. I have a budget on its own of 20,600.
I think what. So if you look at the working here, now all of a sudden, if you add up all of those, it's about 63. There wasn't anything in 26. So how did you pay for all this in 26? Does that help? So in other words, even that vehicle and equipment for 3,100, so you're at 66,000. How did you pay for all those things in the year 26 if they weren't here somewhere?
Well, if you look here, in this area, we only had 3 line items. We had 22,000 for vehicle maintenance, fuel. So basically, I would say
Fuel's a separate, we got
I would
that.
say rob Peter, pay Paul, because you see our expenses are less than fuel.
But you said that in 25 they spent $22,000 in maintenance.
In 25, they spent
No.
1,370.16.
That's what we're trying to understand.
1,370.16.
Where are all these dollar amounts? Where were they paid for out of in 26 or in 25? Because it doesn't show that those amounts, if you add all those up, none of these show those amounts. Because that would be, so vehicle maintenance would be $88,000 versus 22.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
See, this is what I'm trying to, we only had, in maintenance, in vehicles, we only had 3 line items.
Right. No, I get that. But
So what I'm saying, I think what we've been doing is, which you rob Peter to pay Paul.
Well, where did you rob it from?
Well, it looks to me like we had, a lot of it would have been paid out of the fuel expense, because that's our biggest line item budgeted.
so how much did they spend on fuel last
And
year?
fuel, we
That'll help
probably
answer
didn't
that
spend.
Because, Mark, just so I'm on the same page. So you're wanting to know.
And those, the utilities we got an idea on, so.
Right, but if you add all these up.
Yep.
It's about $63,000.
63,400.
That wasn't on 26.
And I can't find it anywhere where it would have been
And I
out.
think, I think if we can find it that they paid for these items
Right.
out of fuel, then that will help.
That would make you feel a lot better.
I'm showing at the end of November, we had spent $112,000 in fuel. So that's $63,000 for 1 month of fuel that we had in that budget. So the fuel might have been overrated, but that's why I say we'd rob Peter and say Paul, and it's coming out of it.
So then those tires, things like that should show coming out of fuel. correct?
Yeah, because we only had a line item for supplies of $500 in, well, wait a minute. Yeah, we didn't have a line item budget for tires. This one I grabbed, but it's just to the end of November of last year, when you look at the vehicles, you can see the line item, what was.
We're not in open session, we closed. Did you need?
Oh, I just had some question on our alcohol policy, like, okay, so there is a. So under sheriff's vehicles, there is a line item for tires. Line items for vehicles and equipment, that's what you got up there, that wasn't budgeted. I wouldn't just for the contemplation, you look at these people on
Access road that used to get into that area there, I mean, that's pretty.
fuel, they're showing that budget as a what? 5002, 507, 301.
Well, it's true, because yeah, you're driving grass.
On this report? Okay, so, what I'm saying is here, maintenance, they had a budget of $50,000. Right there, in 26. Okay, so then you go down, the bills was 72, yep.
It gets down so narrow.
Down there, vehicles and equipment, it showed nothing, correct? So nothing in appropriations. And tires, should nothing in appropriations. So then I'm going to assume that they probably took that out of just maintenance, right?
It's not because my bears here at 70 this year. There's expense like in tires for the average. There's expense in there.
That's gonna be, if you're gonna have 2 months to try. 502.
Yeah, we're.
Okay.
501 would be admin, 502 for trial, 503 investigation.
So you have nothing in there on vehicles?
So you see, we have patrol and we have vehicles.
So I have fuel in vehicles for 6. Okay, vehicle fuel for 2000.
02507.
Yeah.
Where's vehicles? This is vehicle.
What,
Oh, it's
those vehicles?
Yeah, I see that, 175,000.
Here's patrol.
So,
We had 140,000 for 26, and
Yeah.
we spent 72, so.
So 140,000 in fuel and only spent 72.
Well, that's
year to
year to
date.
date, so
So-
that's half.
So it's gonna be close to, it'll probably be over budget by the end of the year, or close to 140,000.
It's gonna be close.
So again, I think it's just figuring out all those items where they've been paid for in the past.
And that's where it's confusing, and I know it's been, Christy and I work towards trying to get line items where we can make heads and tails out of it. But I understand for budget purposes, when we submit to you why you want it,
Also for that, there again, that makes no sense, because if you have fuel down under vehicles rather than patrol in the budget, I mean, wouldn't that be more under patrol? Because the vehicles are just the maintenance of the vehicles and your new builds, not fuel for everything, correct?
I would,
you're looking at you're looking at the 2025, we revised in the 2026.
Well, I'm looking at 2026.
What I just handed you,
2026, you should have a vehicle fuel line item.
Yes.
02507.
But that's what I'm saying, shouldn't that be under control? I mean, you can do whatever you want to with it, but there again, that's what's so confusing, trying to figure out, like, how we're doing this.
And I guess for me, I would rather have vehicle fuel.
Yes.
Because everybody out there has a vehicle. I mean, you have the sheriff, everybody has a vehicle. So let's put vehicle fuel, one line item, and we know that everybody that's connected with the sheriff's department that puts fuel in, we know that it's that dollar amount, right?
Right.
You can break it out and go, hey, patrol, you need to cut back on your fuel, whatever, or however you can do that internally. But I just want to know how much fuel is the sheriff's department going to need in 27, that total number. I don't need it broke out by administrative, patrol.
yeah, it isn't broken out right now, but it's under, what he said, it's under the shop, it's not under control.
But,
Okay,
but the administration uses fuel, right?
Right. So
So
we don't take that out of the separate, it's all out of the shop, out of the fuel budget, yeah.
Okay, so you said they're gonna be close this year,
Yeah.
and I'm showing they had, what, $140,000, is that correct?
They had a budget of 144,000, 140,000.
Okay, so I'm showing 140,000 on here, and you kept it the same for next year. That's what, I think that was one of the things that I asked about that concerns me with the costs being where they are.
the fuel's come way back down, so that's helping.
Okay.
Well, from what I've been buying fuel. it's
So
back
then, so I guess I still never got my question answered, where we came up with the numbers for the tools and supplies, repairs, tire and parts and equipment.
Yep.
I still don't know where you came up with those numbers from.
Where did you get the money for those items in 26? If you're separating them out this year and it's an increase, how did you pay for all those items in the past years? Any year? See what I'm saying? Does that make sense? So
It makes sense, but
you're
I
not,
guess I'll get back to where that's why Christy and I worked, when did we start working on it?
Last year.
Last year, about this time, or a little after, but it was confusing because we had things being paid for out of various funds that, when I looked at the bills, it didn't make sense. So Christy and I worked to try and get the 26 budget line items so we could code it right, so we could have a more accurate, I guess, system.
Yeah.
But it's confusing to you, and I mean, it's just we changed it up because we were having things taken out of various areas that did not make sense.
sure.
And you looking at it doesn't make sense to you either, I understand.
Well, I'd say the biggest thing that just doesn't make sense is the fact that, we're increasing everywhere and we've added these line items, but I don't know where we took the line item, took money from another sheriff canine to put into there.
Yeah, there would have been $63,000 pulled out of somewhere else, is what he's saying.
Yeah.
On the desk. I have no idea where.
Sounds like harmless.
One, two, three.
Keep quiet.
She knows that John and Tara know where it's at. I think it would be like show.
And there again, we're the same way in corrections.
Oh, I know why she's on the phone. What do you think about fleet leasing?
Think so?
About what?
Leasing your patrol cars versus,
We have all the chances that John.
I don't think that's a bad option.
The line of
In fact, it's probably something we need to look at now with things, with the way we are.
so what you might do is have a conversation with Joe at maintenance, road and bridge. We have had the conversation with him about looking at leasing pickups that kind of thing, instead of purchasing. And if we can do it combined as a county, for the vehicles, maybe that'd be something.
There's some very good leasing programs out there right now that it's probably wise to do, I agree.
So maybe for 27, have some real conversation about
Let's see what
that,
we
and
do.
see what your numbers look like,
We've got
just while we're waiting.
miscellaneous contracts, office cleaning supplies, technology, and uniforms that they've all added in. Where'd that come
I know like Avis, some of those places, they're leasing dump trucks, you name it. So it's